皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So this is the Omake talk of the movie review I made about the Courtesan with flowered skin. In Japanese it was called Hanayoi Dochu, by the way. So this Omake talk actually, though, everyone, is going to be a complete spoiler of the movie because the theme that I want to talk about with you today in this Omake talk is I need to talk about the results, what's going to be happening, the climax of the movie, actually. So if you want to see the movie before listening to what's going to happen to Asagiri and Hanjiro, it would be best maybe if you can come back to the Omake talk after watching the actual movie. And if it's okay for you to listen to what happens to Hanjiro and Asagiri after what I've talked about in the main video, you can stay here to enjoy what I'm going to be talking about, okay? Alright. So I need to explain to you what happens after the part where I already explained in the main video. So again, the Yoshida, the very bad merchant guy, the villain of the movie, right? So this man tells the yukaku that he'll be buying Asagiri from yukaku owner that he'll be buying Asagiri, and also tells Hanjiro that he must marry his daughter, otherwise he won't be doing any more business with him. And by the way, again, Hanjiro is very young and Yoshida is actually much older and he has more power, so Hanjiro will be in trouble if he can't work with Yoshida anymore. So that's the reason why it's a threat, right? Yes. So Yoshida eventually opens this party, kind of like a celebration at the yukaku, to celebrate that he's going to be buying Asagiri from the yukaku. It's kind of like a last celebration that they do for the yujyo and also for the man who's going to be buying the yujyo, the myuke, And there, Hanjiro goes to that party too. And there, Hanjiro actually makes a plan with Asagiri. And Hanjiro actually kind of goes up to Yoshida, pouring him some sake, and he acts like he is also a very vile and bad person. So as he pours sake to Yoshida, he's like, "Oh, Yoshida-sama, you're a very good merchant, And he says, though I had one thing in mind I wanted to ask you," Hanjiro says to Yoshida. "Why would you buy such an old yujyo?" Again, Asagiri is always almost 28 years and she's about to leave the yukaku, right? And he says, "Why would you need such an old yujyo? Is she even worth buying, worth the money?" And he doesn't mean it, of course. And then Yoshida actually, he actually reveals what he was trying to do. So to the yukaku owner, he tells that he will buy Asagiri and he will make Asagiri happy outside the yukaku. But in his heart, he was actually trying to use Asagiri as his tool to do his job. Yes, so he was planning on making Asagiri have relationships with his clients, so it'll be easier for him to do business. And he revealed that to Hanjiro because Hanjiro acted as if he was vile and a bad person as well. Now, Asagiri was actually listening to this behind the wall, behind the doors. And then she appears, and then, "Yoshida-sama, I just heard what you just said. I'm going to be telling the yukaku owner that I want to reject this myuke, by letting him buy her, and this is all gone. This never happened, But Yoshida said, "I already gave a lot of money to the yukaku owner, and they even signed this kind of treaty kind of thing. So Asagiri, there's no way you can run. You're already mine, and you're going to be working forever as my tool." Yes, it's terrible, right? And then again, very, very vile Yoshida starts to forcibly receive Asagiri's service in front of Hanjiro again. But this time, Hanjiro goes in to stop Yoshida and they gets into a fight. And eventually, Hanjiro actually ends up killing Yoshida, the vile merchant, right? And then Asagiri says, "You need to run away right now," to Hanjiro, right? "You need to get out of the yukaku, go as far away as possible. We might not be able to see each other anymore, but I want you to survive, so please leave and run." And Hanjiro does. And then Asagiri, of course, all the people, the staff and other usual will come into the room and find Yoshida dead, right? Yes. And then everyone's like, "What happened?" And then Asagiri continues again to start working, but she gets really unpopular because of the incident and such. And she was starting to live a very what should I say, miserable life from there. But then eventually, when she has occasions to go outside, she goes and sit at the shrine where she met up with Hanjiro, right? Yes. She goes to the shrine and she sits there and just hoping that somehow Hanjiro will come to see her again. And of course that never happens. But one day though, when she was sitting at the shrine, there's this boy that brings a small letter. Yes. And the letter says, "I'll be seeing you here at midnight, at a time during midnight." And this boy was just given some, I don't know, a little bit of money to deliver the letter from Hanjiro, right? And then Asagiri reads the letter and she actually comes to the shrine again at midnight. It was probably like after a few weeks or a few months later, probably. And then when she comes to the shrine, she finds Hanjiro there actually. And she was like, "Why are you here?" She's happy, but also very angry and sad at the same time that Hanjiro is there, because if someone finds him, he's going to be killed, right? Yeah, it's because he committed a very bad crime of killing such an important merchant in the city. But he said that he couldn't live on without seeing Asagiri anymore. And he, again, is a textile artisan, and his actual older sister used to be an oiran. So he brings a kimono to Asagiri and lets her wear it, yes, and do the oiran dochu, the oiran walk, just for her. So if you see the, the package of the DVD package, the front picture is actually Asagiri doing the oiran dochu, the oiran walk, which is only a privilege that the oiran can do, to walk through the streets to go see her clients or who ordered her, right? And Asagiri wasn't able to do that because in the end of the Edo period, when the movie takes place, the story of the movie takes place, the government actually restricts the oiran from doing oiran dochu because it was starting to cause trouble, like making too many people gather around in one place, and troubles and crimes might happen, right? So Asagiri was about in the rank of an oiran, but she never actually done the oiran dochu, the walk, before. So Hanjiro brings her the kimono, and at midnight they do the oiran walk just between the two, and they finally become together, yes. But in the morning, when it's about to get to morning, there are the police, kind of like the police people, coming and finding them, and Hanjiro gets caught and he gets killed, yes. And Asagiri does survive because she didn't do anything wrong, right? It was by the law, it was all the man's fault. So Asagiri was alive, but she was all, of course, mentally sick, and she couldn't work as a yujyo anymore. And her junior, the kohai yujyo Yatsu I mentioned in the main video, takes care of her, and she's like all tired, and she's always wearing just like pajamas and sitting on her futon all day. And Asagiri asks Yatsu, what do you think, Yatsu? She asks, do you think a flower would be best if it blooms its whole life, but not blooming like in its full bloom? Or do you think it should be in its full bloom, but it might wither quickly, like this kind of thing, And then Yatsu answers, well, I believe that if that flower gets in full bloom even once in its life, I think the flower will be happy. And then Asagiri says, Yatsu, I believe so too. And in the next scene, Asagiri is dead. She actually commits suicide, yes. So I think she drowns herself in a river, yeah. And that is the end of the movie, yes. So this is the part I wanted to ask you, like what you felt about this ending. So, I mean, like if Hanjiro didn't come back to see Asagiri, he could have survived somewhere, right? But Hanjiro wanted to see Asagiri, and Asagiri didn't just push him back, right? She spent a night with him, knowing that they're going to be caught, very soon. And again, Asagiri could have just lived on after she lost Hanjiro, but she chose to end her life. What do you think about this? I believe that how you feel about this ending, about Asagiri's decision, she didn't have to die, right? She killed herself. This, I think, would be very, very different in each culture, in each person, of course, in each individual. I think the way Asagiri killed herself in this movie is very close to the virtues that Japanese people have. I explained in the video talking about cherry blossoms and hanami culture, the cherry blossom viewings. I explained that Japanese people love cherry blossoms very much because in its full bloom, it's very beautiful, but it withers away very quickly. So this is kind of like the virtue that the samurais had on the battlefield, right? Because their lives could end anytime, so they were hoping to have this one moment in their lives that they could believe that their lives were meant for something. So I really want you to let me know about what you felt about this ending. Did you think that Asagiri should have, lived on even after she lost Hanjiro? Or do you think Hanjiro shouldn't have come and seen Asagiri in the first place? My opinion, I guess, in my heart I am a Japanese person, or maybe I'm not, it doesn't even matter if I'm Japanese or not. I would actually really agree, or I wouldn't find it strange about Asagiri's decision, the last part. I would actually think it's a beautiful thing. Well, not beautiful. It's very, very sad, and it's a horrible thing that they can't just happily live together. But I guess as a story, it's not like a bad ending or anything. It's very touching, moving, sad, but yes, in some way, I guess it's just say it's beautiful. Of course, all couples should be able to live happily. I hope this real world would be like that. But as a story, I guess I would feel it very touching and something that moves my heart, yes. Alright, so please let me know what you thought about this story. And if you actually watched the movie, of course the actors and actresses will do this perfectly for you, so please let me know after watching this movie what you felt too. Alright, so everyone, thank you very much for your time and watching the main video and this Omake talk too in the sub channel. And I'll definitely talk with you again soon. ありがとうございました. Thank you so much.